All right, guys. So you're welcome to today's session. This is the second meeting of the year, and it's really great to have you guys here. I want to start off by saying that I attended Olushola's Audacity conference yesterday. I don't know if anyone else here was there. I mentioned in the WhatsApp channel I was going to be there. I met a few of you, but I met one person specifically that came from the WhatsApp channel, Oluchi. I don't know if Oluchi is here or she's going to join later, but it was really great getting to meet her and some other people as well. And part of what we're going to be talking about today comes directly from some of the things I heard Olushola and others talk about. Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika was also there, and it was just really interesting to see. But I've put today's topic as doing your best, thinking long term, and creating impact. So, thinking about how you want to create impact. Might as well just go straight into it. And I think a good question to ask ourselves, even before we go deeper, is, and it got me reflecting on, why do we want to do the things that we want to do? For example, I'm sure that a lot of you are here because you want to be successful in the oil and gas industry, you want to transition, or you want to grow your career if you're already there. But the question is, why do you want to do that? Is it because you want to make more money? I'm sure that's the reason why a lot of people want to, but is that the real reason? And it is, sorry to say, quite selfish, because you are thinking about how you want to help yourself. And a lot of times when you approach things like that, you end up not being able to go as far as you can. If you take most of the people that are successful, you guys can't hear me. Can you guys hear me clearly?
You can hear
I
me.
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Loud and
So the laptop maybe is from your own end. But anyway, I was saying that if you're thinking about just how much money you can make, trust me, you're not going to make a lot of money. That's just how it works. You're not going to make a lot of money. So why do you want what you want? Some people send me messages, they want to get into the oil and gas industry. They don't know anything about the industry, they just know it makes a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that, but then you need to consider how success really works. Take all of the successful people that you know and look at how they achieved that level of success. For example, the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is rich because he wants to solve the world's problems. He started with electric cars, space exploration, and everything that he's doing. He's solving problems for other people. He's also making other people rich in terms of the shareholders. He's solving the problem of replacing internal combustion engines, and a lot of times not even thinking about himself. If you know Mr. Beast, the YouTuber, he's the most successful YouTuber in the world, but he gives a lot of money away. He's successful because he gives away. So it's very important for us to consider why we want to do the things that we want to do. And then that comes back into self-evaluation, the importance of evaluation. Growth through honest self-assessment. Evaluation is essential for personal and professional growth. It requires honesty and reflection, enabling us to identify our strengths, areas for improvement, and set achievable goals. I always talk about an individual development plan. What that is understanding where you are today and where you want to go and being intentional. You cannot just hope for the best and then do multiple different things and hope that one sticks. I know, because that's what I used to do. And I had to eventually become more intentional about things that I was doing and plan towards a future that I wanted to build for myself the way I want it to be. And it's ironic because you'd never actually be able to create exactly what you plan for. Your plans will, in fact, once your plan starts in motion, you almost have to throw it in the bin because things change. Because things change rapidly and you have to adapt, but you still have to have a plan and even include contingency plans inside that plan if something happens. But you have to be intentional. So, first of all, understanding yourself, doing a self evaluation, and then understanding the world and how it works, gaining all the knowledge of how the world works. So, for oil and gas, for example, how oil and gas works. Because if you're a, for example, if you're a food nutritionist, if you're a food nutritionist, ask yourself, how does that apply to the oil and gas industry? People reach out to me, studied English language. How does that help oil come out from the ground? It doesn't mean that you are not valuable or that you don't have any value to offer, but you need to do self-reflection. You need to ask yourself this question: what is my relevance to this industry? Why should the industry give me a job? What does this industry need and what can I provide for the industry? That's self-reflection. And it's the most important thing that you need to do. Now, something really impactful that Olushola said at the conference, he talked about best, being the best versus doing your best. And a lot of times we just look at the outcome and say that the end justifies the means. But a lot of times, the means is not as good as it could have been. And so even though the outcome is maybe what we want or maybe something that we are okay with, if you take a look at the inputs, the effort that was put in, you realize that it left a lot on the table. Evaluating performance extends beyond mere metrics. Those are the outcomes that I'm talking about. It's essential to recognize that true growth comes from the effort you invest. That's the inputs that I was talking about, not just the scores you achieve. And there's an example that he gave. If a teacher comes into a class and shares scripts to everybody, and then you receive your own script and you scored 4/10, your first reaction is that you'll be very sad. You have failed, because that's actually an F, right? That's an F grade. You have failed and you're sad. And then everybody has collected their scripts, and then the teacher comes back in and says, hello, everyone. I'm sure you've received your scripts now. Everybody performed poorly. You all scored 1/10, and only Sona, for example, scored 4/10. What then happens? Automatically, you become excited. You become happy with your failure. It is still failure, but because you're comparing with other people, you now think that you are successful or you're okay with where you are. But if you ask yourself a simple question, did I do my best? Could I have done better? You then realize that actually you could have done better. So understanding the balance between effort and scores is crucial. So I gave you guys the first scenario. Now let me give you another scenario where you scored 9/10, but everyone else scored 10/10, and you were the only person. So you had the lowest score, but you scored 9, and that is an A grade. But you're sad because you have the lowest score. But in actual fact, you did do your best. You did everything you could have done. Maybe this was the most challenging test you've ever written in your life, and you did your best. But you are sad because you're comparing yourself to other people that maybe have more experience in that particular area or find it easier for themselves, you're doing yourself an injustice there. Because if we stop measuring ourselves with people that's with external factors and we take a look deep down and ask ourselves, am I doing my best? And I'm sure a lot of you understand what I'm saying. You might say you don't have a job or you don't like where you're working. How much effort have you put into fixing that problem? Are you really doing your best? Maybe some people here are looking for internships, maybe undergrad internships or graduate internships, or you're looking for a job. How many companies have you reached out to? Somebody will send me a message and say, I've reached out to a couple companies, but I haven't gotten a response. First of all, the word couple means about 2 or 3. That's what it means. It means not a lot. So literally, you're coming to tell me you have not done a lot of work. You should do so much volume, Alex Omozi says, you should do so much volume of work that it doesn't make sense for you to not be successful. It becomes unimaginable, unreasonable that you're not successful. Simple question, are you doing your best? Are you doing your best? Because this is not the time to chill. I made a video about how 60 people started the Windows graduate program and they said that 50,000 people applied. When I got my own job, we were 11 people that were selected. The HR lady told me that 50,000 people applied. That's a 0.01% chance of selection. Sometimes you may have done your best, but there are people that are just more qualified than you. So put in even more effort to make that best even better than the best that you thought it was. Because it's not connection. There might be a place for connection. And okay, fine. If you think that there is a place for connection, why not start building your connection today? Why not start building? Because people paint connections as a bad thing. It's only bad because you only think it's bad because you're not benefiting from it. Connections are not bad. The better word for connection is relationship. Build your relationships. Network with people. I met a couple people at the Audacity conference yesterday. Very interesting people that make me feel like I have so much more to accomplish. These are the kind of people you need to be relating with. You meet people that will make you think that you've not scratched the surface. Rather than surrounding yourself with people that have scored 1/10 and you've scored 4/10 and you think you are great, or you think you've accomplished something very special when you have not. When there are people scoring 8, 9, 10, you're happy with your 4 because you're surrounding yourself with people that are scoring 1. You're not helping yourself. Build better connections so that you can leverage the relationships that you think that people are exploiting. Because I see it in the comments. When I talk about these things. People say it's by connections. You have to know somebody. Okay, fine. Go and know somebody. If you believe that that's how it works, fine. You go and meet people and know them and give them value. The problem is that you don't want to give people value. You don't want to help people. All the people I met yesterday, I have a list. I call it a relationship manager. I learned this from a book that I read. It's called Never Eat Alone. If you want to build your network, you can read that book. They talk about how to, the writer Keith talks about how to act in conferences. When you meet people, you have deep conversations with them, not just small talk. Well, how is the conference going? You ask them deep questions, make them share something interesting about themselves with you so that you can use that as a way to connect to them later. And when I got home, from my list, I sent a follow-up message to everyone. Hi, good evening. It was great meeting you today. And then I used something personal that I learned from them. I think your story is really interesting. Looking forward to seeing how you are successful in this thing that you're working on. But maybe you're not working on anything. So you can't even go for conferences like this and tell people your own interesting story. Because if somebody tells you an interesting story, you are responsible for giving them an interesting story back. So this is me trying to teach you guys how to build the connections that people think is a bad thing. It's only bad because you are not applying it. But anyway, understand the two scenarios. Put yourself in a space where you understand your inputs and let the outputs take care of themselves. For example, if you want to be a content creator, you cannot decide how many followers you would have. You can decide how many videos you can make. You can decide the quality of videos you can make in terms of how you learn and improve in the videos that you make. If you're applying for a job, you cannot determine which job application will go through, which company will call you, because a lot of times it's because your stars don't align. Your stars don't align at that moment with the company. Because, for example, my own company, for the past 2 years, they have not recruited for supply chain. When I applied, they were recruiting for supply chain. At least now that I'm inside, I have an idea of how it works. Teams will request for people in their discipline, and then the recruitment team goes out to recruit. If the company does not need a mechanical engineer, if you like be the best in the world, they won't hire you. So, for example, supply chain has not hired in the past 2 years. So even if you're the best supply chain professional, my company will not hire you. Doesn't mean other companies will not hire you or your stars won't align with other companies. But it's just for you to understand why you sometimes apply for a job and don't get it. That also doesn't mean that maybe you are just not qualified. That scenario works for if you are actually really qualified, you've done your best, but it might not always work. So you need to keep doing your best. But on the flip side, you might be the person that has not done his best. And maybe that was when your stars were supposed to align, but your CV is empty because you have not done anything. You have not volunteered for work. I made a video where I was talking about my story, and some people said that I should share my story. So I used to be a Bolt driver. And so I used to help my auntie do school runs. This was after school, during NYSC, after NYSC. I didn't have a job. But after doing my Bolt runs, I would come home, I would take courses, I would learn things. I was learning data analysis and data science. I was learning accounting, financial accounting. I was learning how to analyze businesses, right? And also, no, not supply chain at the time. So I was a Bolt driver, and I was also helping my auntie do school runs. So I was using her car to do the Bolt, and then I would help her do school runs, pick the kids, and then I'll sometimes meet her at her office. So one day her boss says to her, "Oh, what's Sona doing? He looks like a level-headed person. Does he have a job?" But she says no. And so her boss says, "Okay, fine, let him come and work with my brother," because they had an oil and gas servicing company. "Let him come and work with my brother." And that was how I got my first job, and I was earning 60K. That job helped me get the supply chain experience that I needed to apply for my current role. Funny enough, the person that was hiring, I later on got to know that because people in supply chain usually come from, you don't have to study supply chain. So they usually come from different backgrounds. The hiring person was a lawyer who came into the team from a bank. So she used to be a banker, then she came into the team. And she struggled a bit with understanding the technicalities of the scopes of work, because it's an engineering company, obviously oil and gas. And so she says perhaps a mechanical engineer will have a better experience or better time understanding the scopes of work, especially an engineer that has supply chain experience. That was my luck. And that was how I got my role. In hindsight, it looks like it was really good that I was a Bolt driver. And as a Bolt driver, I was doing the school runs. And from the school runs, I got the job to get the experience. And from there, but I never knew. I was only just doing everything that I saw an opportunity to do at the time. and then doing my best in it. So please, you will never know when the right thing comes to you until it's in the future and you realize in hindsight. Right? Reframing your evaluation. So how you consider yourself beyond results, the importance of efforts and growth. So always putting in efforts, even though you don't understand where that seed is going to germinate to. True evaluation encompasses not just outcomes, but also the commitment, the willingness to do things that are hard, and then the preparation that's invested. Opportunities will come. Will you be ready for the opportunities? I was able to pick up on the role that my auntie's boss gave me because I had already been training in data analysis. So I understood how to use Excel. I understood how to do all of those things. And also my financial accounting and business administration learning that I was doing. I was able to bring that into that space and do a really good job there and actually gain experience. But I was still earning 60K. Please, you guys should give me 1 second. 1 second, please. Yeah. Okay. So, embracing effort leads to personal growth and fosters resilience in the face of challenges. You need to think about what do you want to be in the future and what will you do today to become that person. You need to think long term, and we'll talk about this in a bit. So, reflecting on your personal progress. Evaluation begins with honest reflection. Ask yourself, do I do my best? Did I stretch my limits? Did I learn and grow from this experience? So if you have a job and you're not learning anything, even if they're paying you well, this is not the time to be thinking about how much a job is going to pay you, but rather how much you're going to learn and develop. Because if you waste your formative years, if you waste your early years, your growth in the future will be stunted because it gets to a point where you no more have the time to gain that experience. So, for example, as a graduate trainee applicant, if you're past a certain age, it becomes way more difficult. It becomes way more difficult. And then the only other way you can get into the industry is through experienced hire. In the entry level stage, they will not ask you what work you've been doing. They like to see that you've been doing work and you're an industrious person and you actually are active and you go ahead to learn stuff, but they don't really prioritize that in that space. But once it's time for experience hire, they start asking you, okay, what have you done? What have you been doing? And if you've not been doing anything related to that job, then they won't take you. So if you had prioritized maybe something that will pay you money, but you're not really learning anything and you're not developing, you will get to a point where that is the highest that you can go. Just doing that thing. But if you are taking a lower paying job that will teach you the skills that are relevant for a high paying job in the future, when it's time to recruit and your stars align, then you'd be able to get that job because you have put in the required effort and everything that goes into it. Now, this is really important, and this is something I also heard from Olushola. He explained income, influence, and impact. If you live for income, you will never get enough. If you live for influence, you will live your life searching for validation from others. But if you live for impact, then you would come out at the end of the day with something that lasts even longer than you after you're gone from the world. And what that means is that the most important thing that you can do is consider how you are solving problems for the world, and in our case here, for oil and gas. If you want to get a job in the oil and gas industry, why should they hire you? What is your impact? What will you do? The bigger the problems you can solve for the industry, the higher you can go in the industry. And a lot of times, the problems are not even technical problems. They are, how do you connect people together, and then those connections help solve problems. That's why I always say that communication is the most important thing that you can build and learn. That's why I'm talking to you guys today, to practice communication. I might be talking to you here one day. My own intention is that one day I'll be on stage in conferences speaking to people. So this is my training. This is my training. I'm intentional. But also in this training that I'm doing, I used to be in Toastmasters. Well, I'm still in Toastmasters, but I'm not as active. And I told my club members that I'm going to deprioritize Toastmasters and prioritize my videos and my community engagement, because Toastmasters helps me develop myself, my own speaking. But doing this, yes, I'll be developing my speaking, but I'm also going to help people. Thousands of people now watch my videos. At least there are 75 people on the call now listening to what I'm saying. And maybe at least one person will pick something valuable from what I'm saying. That is the impact. I'm not making any money from this. In fact, I'm spending money to get it to a certain level of quality that will make it worthwhile for the people that join and listen. I'm not considering income. I'm not doing this to make people think that I am special. I'm doing it because I want to make an impact and help people. And somehow, ironically, by helping people, you will actually help yourself the most. So that's understanding that. And this is the last bit I want to talk about how oil and gas is long term. So I have a video that I recorded. I haven't posted it yet. I'll probably post it later today or tomorrow. But I was talking about how the CEO of Shell, the global CEO, not the MD in Nigeria, came to visit the president of Nigeria and was explaining the projects that they have lined up for Nigeria. In the past 1 year, Shell has already committed about $7 billion to be spent on projects in Nigeria, on 2 projects. And the CEO came to inform the president that Shell is in the works to commission, or rather to take final investment decision, FID, in a $20 billion project in the next 1 year. All because of the president's policy reforms and everything that has been going on in the industry. Say what you want about the administration, about the government. The oil and gas industry has been doing well since this new administration. Investments are coming. I'm sure you guys have been seeing the announcements. Seplat, Tony Elumelu investing in Seplat. Aradel increasing their stake in ND Western. Renaissance is wrapping up their production. Things are happening in oil and gas. And the special thing is that oil and gas is very long term. So all these projects that are getting announced now, all these investments that are happening now will come into fruition, will become materialized in the next 5, 7, 10 years. So even if you have zero experience, you can start building the experience today from scratch. That's the beauty of the industry. But you have to think long term. You have to ask yourself, if you want to do that HSE certification that everybody says they want to do, or you want to do supply chain because you've heard it a number of times, why do you want to do it? What does a HSE professional even do? What does a supply chain professional do? what is the application of data analysis? I always say that everybody should do data analysis, but there's actually nothing like a data analyst. And I'll explain what I mean by that. You cannot just be a data analyst because a part of data analysis, a key ingredient, a key component is domain knowledge. You need to understand the data you are analyzing for it to have any relevance, because the purpose of data analysis is to summarize large volumes of data so that it can be presented in a simple way to help decision making and improve decision quality. That is what this data analysis is. So if you're a data analyst in oil and gas and you don't know anything about oil and gas, so what are you analyzing? But if you want to learn data analysis, you need to understand this. And there's nothing wrong with not understanding everything in the beginning. And that's why I'm here to tell you guys what I have learned, because I used to do data analysis without understanding, without this understanding. I've learned it and now I'm here to tell you. So that's the value of joining these workshops and listening to somebody that has gone before. Me, I still try to listen to people that have gone before me. And then I try to trickle that down to you guys. Right? So think long term. Careers are built over decades. Don't think that because you did not get or you've not gotten a graduate trainee job this year or last year or in 2 years that your life is over. It's not over. In fact, majority of people in oil and gas do not start as entry level in the field that they want to go on. And a lot of times you can switch. Like I mentioned, the person that was in charge of my hiring was a banker. You can build skills that will help you move from one space to another. But the important thing is that you are building skills and you are not sitting stationary. Don't sit stationary. Me, for example, I am currently writing a book. I won't tell you guys what the name of the book will be, but it is for people in this space, really, so that there is a place where you can go and get all the information you need to know about being a young professional in oil and gas. That's what I'm doing. That is to help people. But beyond helping people, you cannot spell authority without author. If you notice, a lot of people that are deemed thought leaders in a space, they've written books. So automatically, if I write a book, even if people will not read it, if I write a book, then I become more of an authority in a space. That's what I mean by understanding the value and impact of what you want to do, not just doing stuff because other people are doing it. What is the reason? So first of all, your reason needs to be grounded and rooted foundationally in giving value to other people, in helping others. And also remembering, because in this world, it's not good to be too nice. It's very, 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 very good to be nice. It is not good to be too nice. It is not good to be too nice. And what I mean by that is that if you are too nice and you forget about yourself, other people will not remember you. Ironically, if you're thinking about the value that you want to give to others, other people are not thinking about the value they want to give to you, because people are inherently selfish. So if other people are selfish and they want to take from you, why not look for a way that they can take from you, and as a byproduct of taking from you, some value is created for yourself. Right? What that means is that you just need to think long term. Have a plan. I cannot mentor everybody one-on-one. That is why I have these workshops. In a few minutes now, we'll go into Q&A and you can ask all the questions that you want to ask. But I really believe that people need to understand that there is hope. There is a way out. It is not an easy road. It's not smooth, but there is a way out. Right? And Let me ask you guys. I know we have the WhatsApp channel because I chose a channel rather than a group chat because I wanted to control the chaos. See how in this call in the beginning, maybe I didn't do the settings right, but people were joining and their video was on, their mics were on, and it's chaotic. I don't want the channel to be chaotic like that. So that I don't want, the channel to be chaotic. Do you guys want a Telegram channel so that people's phone numbers are protected? A Telegram channel but I will not be very active there, to be community driven. Community driven, no problem. Because I realized that in some of the workshops that we have, people come, ask questions, or talk about things, and it helps other people. So that is something that I really want to push, a community driven, because I'm just one person. See, I know that you guys will say that the channel is not active. I have my day job. I have my day job, yet I'm making videos, making newsletters, hosting this workshop, because at least for you guys, you only join for the few, maybe 2 hours that we do this. But for me, I have to plan it. I have to do the slides. I have to even think of what I want to say. I have to make sure that my lights and setup and everything, it takes time, right? So we can have, I think I saw the consensus that people are interested. So we can have a channel, but it will be community driven. So don't expect that I'll be there to give all the answers. I'll answer where I can. What do you say? The video can even be rewatched on the Telegram channel. Yeah. Sorry, let me see what you guys have been saying here. So now please be my connection. I have so much value to bring as a project manager with CRM, automation skills using. I'm currently learning SAP. That's interesting. Have you thought of selling that to SMEs and businesses, the automations? Anyway, we can talk about that later. Maybe send me an email. Nelly. Yeah. WhatsApp, Joe Richard. No, not WhatsApp. WhatsApp shares phone numbers. I don't want 2,000 people having my phone number. I'm sorry. Telegram is better because Telegram doesn't automatically share phone number. Yeah, that's why I didn't do a group. But anyway, I think we can go into Q&A. So if you guys have questions, you can put your hands up. There's some hands up already. I don't know if that's in reaction to what I said earlier. Yeah, I know you prefer the WhatsApp. Personally, maybe I would even prefer to not have to add another administrative thing to my buckets, right? Because that would be a group chat is a whole other administrative thing that I have to take care of. I don't want to add more work to myself. All right. So we'll just have to make do with what we have. And I'm learning on the go. I've never done any of this before. So sometimes I might make mistakes. And like I was using Teams before, but I realized that maybe in the previous calls that we had, I think you guys were not seeing my video. I'm not sure. That's why I moved to Google now. But anyway, let's see the people that have their hands up for questions. Deborah, is this a question hand or was it from before? Okay. I can see questions in a question in the comments. Is cybersecurity of any value in the oil and gas industry? Let me answer this question for everybody. So, first thing that you need to do is look for, you ask yourself a question. Okay, what does the oil and gas industry do? They bring out oil from the ground. They move it from one place to another, refine it, and then sell it to end users. So in all of that, where can cybersecurity come in? For example, for your own example, where can cybersecurity come in? There are IT applications. There's email, right? Phishing is something really important, especially for big companies. If a cyber attack comes in and gets delicate information from a company, they stand to lose a lot. So yes, cybersecurity is important, but you need to ask yourself, what's the value? And is there a peculiar way that cybersecurity can be applicable in oil and gas? Because you need to consider the rarity of your skill. How rare is your skill? If you are a specific, like if you're specifically for oil and gas for cybersecurity in oil and gas, if you can find a way, I'm not in cybersecurity, so I cannot tell you where that works. But if you can find a way, understand the value chain, understand where you fit in, because rather than asking me, you can do your research deeply and then let me teach you how to ask better questions. You'd come to someone that you want to get an answer from, that you think would have the answer, and you say you have done your research, you've noticed this and this trend in whatever space, and then you ask them for specific advice. Do I do this or this? Because if you ask open-ended questions, you make the person think so much. But if you ask a yes or no, a this or this, it's very easy for the person to, with everything they have in their mind, process that question and say, okay, do this or do this. Right? So to answer your question, yes, there is an application for cybersecurity in oil and gas. But then your next question will be where? And I don't have that question because I don't have the answer, because that question is open-ended and I'm not in cybersecurity. But yeah, I would love to ask, as a petroleum engineering graduate that doesn't have any value, as you have mentioned, value is important.
Yeah, we are close actually.
What are some courses you think the person can take for starters to build value and continue to progress, or in general ways the person could add value to himself? So, two things: technical and soft skills. For technical skills, as a petroleum engineer, I'm not a petroleum engineer, but you can join communities like SPE. Join SPE. I recently joined SPE. I'm not a petroleum engineer. I recently joined SPE and I saw that they have a lot of technical classes almost every week. At least I'm in the Port Harcourt section. Almost every week they have technical talks. You can go there and learn. And as you listen to these conversations, you start to gain an understanding, and then you find out where you have interest. You have to go where you are happy, to be honest. And let me see. Let me unpin and still to the side. How about people volunteering to assist with administrative work on the channels and groups? I'm not looking for volunteers again. The last group of people that I asked to volunteer, they did not follow up. And I think that is one of the most important things that people need to understand about relating with others. That is what will determine. For example, if I want to recommend somebody for a job, I will not recommend them based on how smart they are. I'll recommend them based on how reliable they are. So if we are having a conversation, or if we're supposed to do something together, and then you ghost me for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, then you come back, who's to say you won't ghost me after 2 days again? I've had this experience with a number of people, not just volunteers here, but generally in life. And it's something that even me, I'm trying to be very intentional about, not to ghost people, ghost mentors. Maybe you collect somebody's number at the conference and then you ghost them for 3 months and then you text them. They will not remember you. That's why I said when I met all the people I met yesterday, I have a list, and as I go home, I followed up with them, and I have a Notion template that will remind me in like a month to follow up with them. Unless it's somebody that I want to build an active connection with, then I can do either every week or every 2 weeks. I'm very intentional about it because reliability is the most important thing. Dependability. If people know that you can be the person to deliver, Obama says that was the most important thing that helped him become president. If people just know that you're the guy that gets stuff done. If you really want to volunteer, fine, no problem. We can talk about that. Maybe when the Telegram group is up, we can see. But for now, I'm not taking that. I want to take questions. Mess Sommer's hand went up for a question, so you can go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Hi.
I'm currently studying industrial chemistry with hopes to join the oil and gas. I have like 3 years experience with data analysis. I know I have to niche down because I follow you on TikTok, but I'm also looking at Salesforce. So I wanted to know whether I could combine that, like Salesforce with data analysis and the of impact in the oil and gas space once I graduated. Because one, I gap. So you were speaking about it. So I want to be able to like beat the experiences, the age limit I might have when I'm done by gaining experience now. So if Salesforce is a good part, then I'd like to know so that I can just add that to what I'm currently doing already.
What's the value of Salesforce? What do you want to learn in Salesforce?
Salesforce helps automation and business basically same thing that data analysis does, actual business sales back end from what I've understood that Salesforce does.
And then you say you're learning industrial chemistry. You're studying industrial.
I'm studying industrial chemistry. Yes.
And you're still in school. So you know something valuable about still being in school. You're not obligated to gain experience there. That's actually where you should do as much certifications and extra things by the side as possible. So I don't know how long the Salesforce training will take. You can do that and then maybe consider things like, so in every discipline, they would usually have applications that they use. So I'm sure that there are applications that you use as part of being an industrial chemist in maybe even oil and gas, but generally in the industry, right? So look for those applications that you use. Don't look for general softwares. And this goes for everyone. Don't look for general softwares like AutoCAD is even good for mechanical engineers. Don't look for, like, Salesforce now is general business. As an industrial chemist, look for industrial chemist software and learn how to use it. This is something that they used to tell us in school. I studied mechanical engineering. They used to tell us to learn AutoCAD and Inventor. If you're a mechanical engineer, you probably have heard of Inventor. Learn about drawings and designs and designing. It's very relevant. That's the software. Drawing, like the drawing and design software. Learn how to use it. It is very relevant. It will help you stand out. So look for, if you want to be an industrial chemist, then look for the softwares there. You can also do the Salesforce as an add-on, but it should be secondary. That would be my advice to you and to everyone else. Look for exactly MATLAB, the specific softwares. Don't look for general things to add. Specialize in where you are. All right. MM.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Yosuna, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the time that you always take to share your insights. My question is about transitioning. Well, it's two questions in one, but the first one is transitioning. let's say, what are the prospects for one person to use their skill sets in a particular industry and transition into the O&D? For example, okay, let me use myself for an example. Like I work in refining, to be exact. That's like sugar refining, and I work in the process engineering department of that thing. So what I wanted to know is that I understand that the O&G demands a lot in terms of like particular certifications and training. And if you try and specialize in one particular thing, let's say, for example, in FMCG now, the ability for you to transition with that knowledge you have at the FMCG level to the O&G level, like how feasible do you think it is? Is it something that could work out? Because I mean, you're there in the industry. I've just seen people that have actually transitioned from, let me say, FMCG now to O&G with the knowledge that they had before. It actually works out for them.
So I'll use a very high level example to help you reframe your thinking. So you saw the announcement that Tony Elumelu's holding company is now the majority shareholder in Seplat, one of the biggest Nigerian oil and gas companies. Tony Elumelu is a banker. He has transitioned into energy, oil and gas, and is now a majority stakeholder in one of the biggest companies. Femi Otedola started with diesel supply. So downstream, he had major tank farms. In fact, he was one of the biggest supplier of diesel in Nigeria. Currently, he's the chairman of First Bank's holding company. He has moved into banking. That tells you that the disparity between industries is not as deep as we think it is. If you're a process engineer, a process is just how input is converted into output. Whatever the input is, what's the process that will convert it into an output? That applies everywhere. Whether it's software engineering, whether it's banking, whether it is, I say banking because I'm mentioning these ones because it doesn't look like engineering, for example, but it is still input and output. So if you think about it that way, you realize that you can take a general framework and apply it into different places. I'll use myself as an example. I'm currently a supply chain professional, but I have the intention to move to business economics in the short to medium term future. What have I started doing now? Two things: consuming resources and notes, articles about what a petroleum economist does. So the project valuations, investment decisions, the financial modeling, everything that they do. I have a 150-page manual that is used in my company. I went and got it and I'm reading it and learning about it. I've applied for courses there just so that I understand. I'm still doing my supply chain just so that I understand. That's the first thing I'm doing. The second thing that I'm doing is surrounding myself with people in that space. So connecting with them, having conversations, following people that talk about these things on LinkedIn. So people that talk about deal negotiations and deal valuation, project valuations, petroleum economics. I follow them on LinkedIn. I engage their posts. I'm sorry. And then LinkedIn will start suggesting more of these things to me. So if you want to transition somewhere, surround your mind with the things that have to do with that thing. So if you want to transition to oil and gas as a process engineer, what does a process engineer do in oil and gas different from a sugar refinery? You start surrounding yourselves with that. You start to see the similarities and also the differences and help yourself build that understanding. I hope that helps. Chinaza.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Wait, though. There are two Chinasas.
I don't know
Is
if
it the
it's
wrong one?
me or
It's,
the other person.
it's you.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry. My question. I studied industrial chemistry, and I'm currently a mod engineer, but I've not really started working yet. I just got like a trainee job, but I also want to start off as a graduate trainee. I have a problem. I have not completed my NYSC, and most of the graduate trainees I'm seeing the applications I'm seeing, they are finishing. People are already getting the job this year. And you said something about age, limiting you as a graduate trainee. So I don't know if it will be too late for me to still, want to apply as a graduate trainee by the end of this year, or should I just focus on getting the experience because I'm I wouldn't say age is on my side. So I just need you to like help me clear that part, please.
So, first of all, I'm always excited to hear that people are mod engineers. It's just very interesting to hear that you like it. To me, it sounds like you like to play with mod. But anyway. So what I would say about the age thing, is that remember I said think long term. Think long term. It doesn't matter if you don't get the job this year. Complete your NYSC, and then when you are ready, there will be. See, do you know that there are people in this world that a lot of opportunities get thrown at them that they turn the opportunities down? And it's a scenario that anybody can create for themselves by being the kind of person that attracts opportunities. So don't be worried about if you miss graduate trainee, for example. Don't be bothered about that. Finish your NYSC. Start what you, because if you apply for a job, there's no guarantee that you will get it. Right. So it's not even as if you have the NYSC now and you applied for the jobs that are on now that you get those ones. Maybe that's not where your star aligns. So don't bother. Believe in God, but give God something to bless. So build your knowledge base, build your experience, keep going. And when it is relevant for you to be, see, do you know that there are some people that when you open their LinkedIn, for example, or maybe when you look at their CV, you just feel like this person needs to work in my company. Like you just feel. Let me give you guys an example, and this is personal. People have been reaching out to me asking me questions, but I actually saw someone that I think is really has been putting herself out there, is industrious, and I actually reached out to ask if she's interested in working for me. She did not ask me anything. I'm the one that reached out. There are ways that you will show up that people will look for you. At one point I wanted a video editor and I made a video about it. Like 200 people applied. I did not see anyone that was good enough to meet what I required. The only person I had a conversation with for that thing was actually somebody I saw on TikTok because she was posting her work and I reached out to her. Unfortunately, we couldn't come to an agreement, but I reached out to her. There are ways that you will position yourself that opportunities will chase you and not the other way around. In terms of age, don't bother about age. I promise you, as long as you're here, you are still very young. I can promise you, like you still have time. Even if you don't have any experience, you've not done anything in your life, you still have time to turn your life around. I'm sure that everybody here is young enough to be able to fix their life. I remember what I said about long term. Always think long term. Think long term. Because yes, you might say age is not on your side. But what does age not being on your side mean? It means that you think that the opportunities that are there now, you might not be able to get them because of your age. But I promise you that there are more opportunities ahead as long as you're gaining the experience. I think you mentioned that you are starting. What do you say you're starting? You're starting something.
A trainee. I've been training in the mod engineering section. Like I've been on rigs and all that, but I've not like been with an actual company.
So just keep doing that. Keep doing that. Look for how you can build, and then look for things. So for example, I mentioned the softwares. Are there mod engineering softwares? Are there things that you can learn? I promise you that even if it takes 5 years, you will get a job that is high paying, that you are relevant, that they'll be flying you around as if you just do it well. Forget graduate training, it's not the only path. I promise you, because I've seen people that took the longer road to get in, and they even have more success. You're in a good space, mod engineering. That space is a good space for oil and gas because it's directly tied to the things that are happening on the field. So don't worry yourself. Just keep building yourself, and I hope that helps.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if you have, please, if anybody has any more questions beyond this, you can always send me an email and I would respond as soon as I can, or you can send TikTok DMs. For TikTok, thousands of people send me messages there, so it's more difficult, but send an email, please. But also, let it be a relevant email and easy to answer, respond. I will, Kingsley, because you're also Chinaza, I'll let you ask your question now.
Is it me? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My question is this. So currently I just finished my NYC, I think last year November, and I'm currently applying. I've been applying since last year. I can't even count how many applications I've sent, but I don't know. My problem is in the oil and gas. Is it normal for them not to send, should I say, rejection letters, rejection emails? Because I feel like it's important to growth in the sense that if you keep doing something, you keep getting rejected, you can say, okay, go back to the drawing table and see where you're getting it wrong. So I don't know. I've been sending applications, but I barely get any response back. I just get all this silence and stuff. So which is kind of stressing me out to some extent. So I don't really know what I'm doing wrong or if I'm getting it right.
Let me ask you a question. You asked me if it's normal. The question you asked now is that, is it normal for companies to not send rejections? And
Yes.
to answer that question, I'll ask you a question. If 100,000 people send you a message on WhatsApp, will you reply all of them?
No.
So you just answered your question for yourself. Not all companies have the infrastructure to be able to have automated responses to rejection. In fact, right now, it is AI that looks at applications. So do you think there's somebody in Owando that looked through 50,000 applications? No, it's AI that will scan through the applications and flag the ones that somebody should come and check. So not everybody has the money to pay. Some companies have not even finished paying salary. So not everybody has the money to set up an automated system that will send you a rejection. Because it is a courtesy to you. They don't have to send you anything. It is a courtesy to you. Yes, it's nice. It's also be nice for you to reply all those 100,000 people in your WhatsApp, but it's not very feasible. But to the second thing you mentioned, which is not part of the question you asked, but should actually be the question, there's nothing wrong with sending a lot of emails and not getting a response. What is important is that, are you improving your application with everyone you send? So if this application you send tomorrow is not better than today, then that's where the problem is. If you've not learned something new if the you tomorrow is not more knowledgeable than the you today, then that's where the problem is. You need to keep learning, keep improving every single day. Here's a simple question. Ask yourself, if I keep doing everything I did today for the next 10 years, will I end up as the kind of person that I want to be. This life is a science. Success is a science. There are strategic ways and methods that you can engineer success. You might not engineer it exactly the way you want, but I promise you, you can engineer success. You can create it. You can create it. One of the ways is to first of all surround yourself with people that have done the thing that you want to do. I know this is not part of your question. I'm just
No
going.
problem.
Surround yourself with people that have done the thing that you want to do. Try to learn more about. So, spend more effort building yourself than applying for jobs. If you keep applying for jobs, you will keep applying as the same person that was rejected before. But if you spend 80% of your efforts now building skills and then you apply to the major jobs, but still plenty, maybe just not as much, because there are some jobs that you know that as you're applying, they're not going to take you. There are jobs, there's no need to apply for those kind of jobs unless you have a lot of faith, and there's nothing wrong with having faith. But there are jobs that you apply to that you know they won't take you. You already know. So just don't be sad that they're rejecting you, my guy. Like, you will get rejection. You will eat it and be full. You will get rejection. But if that leads you to a yes, I think Olushola said in his conference that he sees failure and rejection as a bunch of keys to open a door. That people think that you get to a door, you don't know which key will open the door. People want to pick up any key and that key will open the door. But what happens is that you try the first key, it won't work. You try the second one, it won't work. And the beauty is that each time you try a key, you know that that key is the key that will not work. And you're closer to the one that will work. So keep trying. You are closer to being accepted and not rejected.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Gabriel, let me also look at the
Yeah, hi, Suma.
chat.
Okay, so my question is regards the grades on a degree. So for instance, you studied the course and then your grades usually, because when the job application for graduate training, they usually say 2-1 or first class. If it's lower than that, do you think the AI will automatically screen out the application? And then if most AI just does that, does it mean that even if you keep applying, nothing works out? Or do you have to go for something else?
So the thing about finishing with a 2 to a third class is, and then asking this kind of question is that you are focusing on something that's already in the past. And there are two ways that your grades would not be good. It's either you gave it your all, and it just didn't work out for you because maybe you didn't like the course, or maybe a formal educational setting is just not your thing. Or you weren't serious in school and you weren't reading or studying and then you failed. If you're in the first group where you did your best and it didn't work out, that means that you have the capacity and ability to do good work somewhere else, so you can apply yourself somewhere else. So for example, you can go and do a master's maybe in a different subject that you'll be happier doing because you've learned over time you are interested in something else, or you can do a certification there, or you can start building skills or just working on projects, doing things in that line. Don't focus on the 2-2. Remember I said that you need to actively be moving forward. If you have a 2-2 and you apply for a job and I think that's why you did not get it, the next time you apply for a job, let it be that you are even more qualified than somebody that has a 2-1. And if it's AI that is screening you out, so be it. You move on to something else. Life will continue moving no matter what has happened in the past. It is how you react that is important. I don't know if you know Stephen Bartlett, the Diary of the CEO podcast. If you go to his LinkedIn, you will see an experience. He has so much listed out there. in education, there's just one word: dropout, because he didn't go to he didn't go to university, and he's in fact, not almost, he's super proud of being a dropout, being a reject, being the person that people thought that nothing will come out from. But he puts in all the work, puts in all the effort, did all the things, and now, professors, PhD holders will come to conferences where he's speaking because he is speaking, to listen to him speak. So please, if you have a tutu, if you have a third class, if you did not go to school, it does not matter. The world is not over. Like, there's so much that you can do. There's so much you can achieve. There is, like, it's endless. So it doesn't matter. Like, tutu is in the past, my guy. Like, it's in the past. You cannot go back and change it. Me, I finished with a 2-1. I feel like I should have pushed for a first class. I feel like I did not do my best. That is, I know I did not do my best, but I don't even care because it's in the past, right? And I know maybe you say 2-1 is different from 2-2, but me, I know that I should have finished the first class, but I don't even care. I'm going to build myself to be better than all the first class people. I'm going to do things that, and I'll tell you another thing, eh? I know that it seems like such a big deal now, but I promise you, once you manage to get a job, automatically the degree you finished with becomes almost irrelevant. Nobody cares whether you have a first class or 2-1 or 2-2. It becomes, what did you do in your previous job? What value did you create? So don't overthink it. Keep applying. You will get a job. I promise you. Whatever you finish, you will get a job. Right? Just keep applying. Keep building yourself. Make sure each application you send is better than the previous one, and you get a job. Let me see some of the comments in the chat. There are plenty of things here. Mechanical engineer, 300 level, learning AutoCAD and SolidWorks. Which skills will help me stand out? Continue with the AutoCAD and SolidWorks. Just continue learning that, but make sure you're intentional and you understand the applications of it. Currently working as an electrical technician. My long-term goal is transition to oil and gas. Why? It's because of money. If money is the first thing, that's okay. But let it be at the back of your mind. Don't be thinking about money. I'm just saying this because, yes, oil and gas makes money, but you'll be surprised that it's not everybody that's making you leave where you are and come here and realize that it's not as rosy as you thought. Anyway, the core technical systems and engineering principles are largely similar. Exactly. How can I strategically position and leverage my FMCG experience successfully? So it's back to what I said to about surrounding yourself with things that are similar in oil and gas to what you're currently doing. And when you start surrounding yourself and consuming resources, projects, just things, looking at things that are in that environment, connecting with people on LinkedIn, you start to notice the differences, and then you start to know what are the things you need to add to yourself. Please, how do we join SPE or other groups? So there's a link. You can register on the website, but to pay, you need a dollar card to pay because it's international, but you need a dollar card. If you want to join, so I have a friend, she's the former youth chairperson, I don't know, of SP in Port Harcourt. So there's a link that she uses to help people register. Is HVAC not AC? Are they going to hack the AC? I don't know. My actual question: someone in the industry, are there teams existing which someone? So let me tell you something about IT. I won't even lie to you. IT is one of the easiest departments to outsource and subcontract. What that means is that it's easier to just get a contractor to do it, and as long as you're not the owner of the company, it becomes very difficult to get the most value, right? So IT, software engineering, like I said, is easy to outsource. The other departments that are also easy to outsource. Let me think. Health is very easy to outsource, for example. So you just need to be wary of that and look for how you can specifically. And yes, I talk about oil and gas because that's where I am, but it doesn't mean that that's the only industry you can be successful in, right? I'm just talking based on where I am, and yes, I know it's like the biggest industry in Nigeria, but that's what I have to say. Who is already provide value securing these systems, or are they completely outsourced by managed security services? Yeah, exactly. So it's outsourced. Mastering MATLAB can help in mechanical engineering. That's good. Yes, that's correct. Can you still apply for graduate training role if you have a postgraduate degree? And by that, I mean just a diploma, not master's. Postgraduate, that means you have a BSc. I'm confused. Aspen HISIS for chemical engineering. Exactly. So I can't remember who was the industrial chemist, but you can do that. That's a software. See, this is the reason why I want us to have the Telegram group, because there are people that know more about certain things than me. So community driven. I found that I really enjoy project management as well. During my final year, I was a group leader for our design projects. It was challenging, but I enjoyed coordinating the team and bringing everyone together. I'd love your advice on how I can pivot into project management. You can do PMP. And yeah, but the thing about project management is people don't necessarily just want a generic project manager. They want somebody that has managed this specific type of projects that they are working on. And usually they would like for you to have domain knowledge. So I don't think project management is something that you should focus on immediately as an entry level person. That's my own take anyway. Maybe other people might think otherwise. But you need to have domain knowledge of the project that you want to manage. So usually it'd be good for an engineer that has worked on a similar project to then manage the project, for example. What skills do you need or softwares do you need as a chemistry student? Let me see. Good afternoon, sir. For the past 7 months, I've been applying for lots of graduate trainee roles and I have been shortlisted for the first stage of almost all of them, but the issue is passing the aptitude test for me. Please, what's your advice to pass them? That's just my problem. For aptitude tests, don't know. Just have to keep practicing it every day and getting better. Look for past questions and practice, because actually, you're right, you have to get through those stages to even get to interview for people to see how you are, right? So practice as much as you can. That's what you can do. Mention the book about networking at conferences. The name is Never Eat Alone. Let me type it. Never Eat Alone by Keith Farazi. I can't remember how it's spelled, but Keith Farazi. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's there already. So does it mean there is no hope for someone with a tutu in oil and gas? Yes, there is hope. There is massive hope. Please, just keep applying, build skills, work on projects, do things. Surround yourself with success drivers. There are things that I would call success drivers. They're just, see, I'm telling you that there are ways you would carry yourself. There are things you would do, actions you would take that people will be begging you to come and work for them. I'm serious. Doesn't matter. Can we get your email? My email is, please, people should not spam my email. It's sona@sonaheart.co. Concerning IT, I made my research and I don't really think it can be outsourced as they are technical. You don't think it can be outsourced? For example, operational technology and industrial. That's not ITO. Well, I don't know. Maybe you know better than me, but operational technology and industrial systems are the specific softwares that will be used by the engineers, by the operations technicians, operations engineers, industrial engineers, not a software engineer, right? And a lot of the softwares that are used are already developed and built. So It's just maintenance and support that's required, and that requirement is not a lot. Back to the questions in the room. Ruben Enoch. Where's Ruben?
So I'm currently a service intern at Greenville LNG, the gas plant in Port Harcourt, and I'm also a mechanical engineering student. So I don't know if this is kind of a generic question, but if you were mentoring an intern at such a facility today, what habit would you insist they develop early on? And secondly, between mechanical production and operations roles, which path offers the best learning curve early on?
So the first thing I'll say is for your internship, first of all, they wouldn't give you so much to do. That's just the truth. They wouldn't give you so much to do, but try to get to the highest level of technical involvement that you can. So look for opportunities where they'll give you as much work as somebody that's already working there, even though they would control the amount of work that they give to you because you're an intern. The real key thing that you can do is actually build your relationship with the people there. This is very important, and it's something I learned late. Build your relationship with the people there because you never know what value they can provide to you in the future. All right, so build a relationship. That's as an intern, that's the most important thing you can do. Because if, for example, you intend to go back to the company, for example, the reception, the way they will receive you, will be determined by how you make them feel now that they are with you. So that's the most important thing that you can do. Depends on what you like, right? For example, I've told you that I like petroleum economics, and so I'm being intentional about moving there. It's what I think I would be happy doing. I've enjoyed supply chain and I want to move. You don't have to stick to one thing. Just look at everything. What do you like? Which one do you like? And pick one and go ahead and do it. As long as you enjoy doing it, I promise you, the thing that you enjoy doing, the days that you're not happy, you will still be okay doing it. If you're doing something you don't like, the day you're not happy, you wouldn't want to do it. It feels more like a chore than even a job. So I can't answer that question for you. Maybe you can look for somebody that is more technical. I'm not technical. I'm in a commercial role. So I might not be able to answer that specifically for you. But you know what? Let's do this. Send me an email and I will forward it to somebody that might be able to answer that question better for you. Does that work?
Okay. I don't know. Yes, it works.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, I saw a question in the chat. Can we join Toastmasters in Port Harcourt? Yes, you can. There are a couple Toastmasters clubs in Port Harcourt. So you can. I will maybe send me an email. Send me an email and I will see if I'll send me an email with your phone number and I'll send you somebody's contact that you can reach out to. Sir, I'm not a sir. Please, what's the hope for someone who studied history and international studies about to do my clearance to transition to oil and gas? I went for HSC. Where do you people hear this HSC thing? Where do you people hear, like, why is, because I'm seeing, sir, I did, once again, I'm not a sir, I did a HSC course back when I was in school and it is written, please, I want to know if it is recognized in oil and gas. What do you want to do with the certificate? Do you want to be a HSC professional? Do you know the applications of it? Do you like why? What do you want to do with HSC? Why is, I don't know. I think it's just something that they made mandatory in schools and early career, but it's not. It's not something, I don't know. For history and international studies, for example, you can be a corporate relations professional, or you can be HR. So you can start learning, you can take HR certifications, you can take corporate relations courses and certifications and things like that. So history and international studies. And when you say what's the hope, that sounds like you already don't have hope, or you think the hope is zero and you're hoping for something. You need to have, and this goes for everyone. I think Olushola said this. No, Olushola said that Elon Musk said this. I don't know if Elon actually said it, but he prefers to be an optimist and be wrong than to be a pessimist and be right. So why not think there's hope for you? And then, because this your question is leaning more on pessimism. What's the hope for someone? Is there hope? God help me. Is there, what's this? Yeah, okay. Like, God help me. Is there hope for me? But it should be, I'm determined to get into this industry no matter what. I will go and find what I can do in the industry. Like, it's the same frame of, like, it's the same thinking, or it's the same question, but a different frame of mind. And that's the most important thing. Think like that. And when you start thinking like that, you start asking questions. Okay, what do I need to do? Because if I tell you now, okay, I've told you you can do corporate relations or HR, the next question will be, will I go back to school? Will I do this? Like, that's what you'll be thinking if you're a pessimist. But if you're an optimist, you'll be happy. And then you will go and learn everything that you can and see how you can incorporate what you already know from your history studies into something like corporate relations. Or maybe in your research, you might even see something else that you like, maybe like local content, for example. You might see. Toastmasters community in Lagos. Yes, there is. I think Total has one. And when I say Total, it's just they have the meetings in Total, but it's not just for Total staff. So you can join that as well. Is someone with an offshore experience as an oiler, engineering watchman, work in, I don't understand this question, work in the corporate domain? Yes, you can. You can always transition. For example, a lot of the leaders in supply chain in my company came from technical backgrounds. They were engineers first. My current manager was an engineer before, so I think it was in maintenance. So yes, and from so now, only first class graduates have opportunities in oil and gas. If you heard that and you believe that, okay, then it's correct now. Like, so if I tell you that you never make it in life, you believe me and you sit down. Sorry to respond like this, but it's the truth. Like, you heard that from somebody and then you said, okay, fine, that's the truth. And then you're coming to ask me to confirm it. Such things should not even be things that enter, like, are allowed. First of all, you should not even be close to people that think like that. So if that person is your friend, just reduce how much you talk to them. But always think positive. Things will work out first. Even if you do not go to school, you will find a way to get a job that pays more than first class graduate jobs or whatever. Like, just have it in your mind that it doesn't matter what you studied, what you graduated with, you will be successful first. Like, let that be I will be successful first. Me, I call myself a star. If you meet me, I'll tell you I'm a future billionaire. I'm not a billionaire now, but I will be. I will. So now my duty is to find out how. But the new thing that I've started saying now is that I'm a future petroleum minister of petroleum. How will I do it? I don't know. But that is what I've accepted. That's my truth. And I'll create it. So if people tell you that only first class graduates are allowed into oil and gas and you've accepted it, for you to come and ask me this question, it means you kind of believe it. You kind of believe it, because if you did not, you would say that this thing does not make sense and this person has a problem in their mind. Don't allow negative people come near you. For real, like this is the most important thing. Oh. Don't allow negativity come into your mind, your heart. Forget all these courses, and you need to be able to see the future that you want before it can happen. If you cannot see it, it will never happen. If you think you cannot enter oil and gas, then it will never happen. So if people tell you this and you believe it, then that will be your reality. So please, in fact, let this person ask this question. Rashid, please, I need you. I hope you're still here. I need you to type in the comment section now, in the chat box. I will get opportunities in oil and gas. Just please, just type it. Please. Forget that person that told you. Please type it those for your own good. And anybody else that is interested, you guys can go ahead and type it, please. And tell yourself every day. Please tell yourself every day, because you can and you will in the future. It doesn't matter whether it's today or next year or 5 years. You will, and you'll be happy and you'll live a good life. Yeah. Let me see. So whoever that someone is, tell them that me, I said that it doesn't matter. In fact, not me, I said that you said you are the person saying it doesn't matter, and you create the reality for yourself. How did you get the IWCF certificates? I don't even know what that is, but I think this is the value of community. This is why I want to do the Telegram channel. Someone got into the last undergraduate program with a 2-1 with no connections. Me, I finished with a 2-1. I work at an IOC. I also got an offer at NLNG, but I did not go. I did not know anybody. So, I don't know. I don't know if they took 2-2. I don't know. But that doesn't even matter. If you have a 2-2, for example, and IOCs have said they will not take you, I'm just giving an example now. And IOCs have said they will not take you. You will go to an NOC or a servicing company and build experience. And then when the oil company, when the IOC is hiring and looking for experience hire, because you're a star in the servicing company, they will take you over the first class graduates that has not been doing anything since he graduated. That's the way. Here's a link. I see myself in honor. Exactly. Yeah, it's not that deep. Me, I'm a petroleum minister, so it's good that people know me now. It's good that people know me now. Oh my god. Any other question?
Hi, Sona. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone else. I have a question, but I want to first of all paint my scenario. So I graduated from AFE in 2023 with a computer science degree. And between 2023 and 2024, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I started my NYSC in 2024. I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I found myself in human resources. And then I worked in human resources, and not to be cocky or anything, I did it very well. And it was something that people felt you should do this, right? But I didn't have a passion for it, honestly speaking. And I didn't feel like I could scale in that. So I just kept it aside, I just thought of it as, okay, valuable experience. But my desire was always to go back to tech. I struggled with programming, so I decided to do things like business analysis. So I got my certificate in that, but I didn't really get opportunities to work in business analysis. So I got a different job after NYSC, and I'm currently in that job. But as of this time next month, I have actually resigned. I won't be there this time next month. So I used 2025 to try to get opportunities in oil and gas. And honestly speaking, it got very frustrating at a point, but I realized why it was frustrating, because I didn't really know much about the industry. So I was really applying blindly. So I decided to take a step back and really look at the wider picture. Okay, what's the industry about? where can I fit in, into the value chain and all of that. And I found out that, okay, companies work with big data, they use artificial intelligence to make their operations seamless, automate their processes. And I decided, okay, I want to learn more about this. So bottom line, I decided to use 2026, right? Because I used 2025 to look for opportunities, but that didn't work out. Now I'm using 2026 to learn more and to upskill. So right now I'm doing my master's in information technology with a specialization in AI and automation. And I'm looking to do data science as well, so that I put that in my toolkit. But I want to know if there are any places where I could research on projects that are going on in the industry, where I can read on articles that can actually give me insight into what's going on in the industry, so that I tailor my expertise, or I tailor my learning towards that. So if I find myself in a room where I'm given an opportunity and I have an interview, I'm able to use industry relevant lingo, so to say, to put myself ahead of others. I don't know if you really get what I'm trying to say, but I want to really use this year to learn more, so that I'm not just applying blindly like last year. I'm actually applying in the proper way. And if I get the opportunity, if I get the interview, I actually know how to say the right thing, right? I say the right thing, so to say. That's my question.
Okay. So I'll tell you how I have actually grown in this area of understanding more about the industry. So initially, I wasn't talking about oil and gas in my videos, and then I started talking about oil and gas and how there are opportunities for young professionals. But then I'm just one person in my own small space. How much of the industry do I know? And I need to actually find a way to tell people about the industry. So I started following accounts. If I ask you how many oil and gas companies are you following on LinkedIn or on Instagram, are you following oil and gas companies on Instagram? I'm asking you, are you?
I don't have an Instagram account. I have a LinkedIn account.
Or are
So I
you
follow a ton of IOCs on LinkedIn.
not just IOCs? You see, that's the problem. You're looking for. So let me give you an example. I'll use a conference as an example. If you go to a conference with the intention, in fact, let me use the book that I read, Never Eat Alone. He said that a friend of his, I might paraphrase some things, but a friend of his went to a conference where a king was supposed to be. He paid plenty money to go for the conference and waited in line to shake the king's hand, and then came back and was really excited to say that the conference was a success for him. Okay, what did you achieve there? I shook the king's hand and I paid all this money. And it's like, why did you do that? The king doesn't know who you are. You are one in 1,000 handshakes. If you go to a conference and you try to talk to the speaker, you want to meet the speaker doesn't know you. And the speaker, every other person in the conference is trying to talk to the speaker, they will not remember you. But in that conference, there are multiple people who, on that day, are not as special as the speaker, but are special in their own right and are like-minded like you, because you guys have found yourself in the same space. So there's already that filtering of people that are like-minded like you in that space. So get to meet them. And that's what I did in the Audacity conference yesterday. I didn't speak to Olushola. We took a picture though, but that was it. I do not want to tell him anything I'm doing, because I feel like if I keep doing my work and doing what I'm doing, eventually I'll get to a point where I will have enough credibility that we will meet up at a certain level. So I'm not even in a hurry for that. But there are very special people, like minded, that are also there. I met a lot of cool people. So now you're following IOCs alone, but you're in Nigeria. You're in Nigeria, but you're following international companies that Nigeria is just a small part of their portfolio. What happened to Nigerian operating companies? What happened to Nigerian servicing companies, NUPRC, NMDPRA? What happened to all these people? The essay to the president for essay to the president for energy. What happened to the petroleum minister? What happened to other people that are working in maybe even the kind of role that you want to get. These are the people that by the time you follow all these people, I promise you, your feed, you'll be running away from oil and gas use and things. I promise you, like you just surrounded. But you have to be intentional. You have to have a reason, and a lot of times the reason has to go beyond just you. Because you've been talking about I've done this, I didn't enjoy this, I didn't do the but you've not talked about what value you want to give back. The only reason or part of the reason why I'm following all these companies now is so that I have information to give to you people. It's not even for me, it's for you people. But as a byproduct, I'm learning. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys since. Remove yourself from the story. Remove yourself from the story. Let your story be of impact. Look for what in this industry will now my data analysis or data information technology that you're learning or whatever it is you're learning. Where do they even use this thing in this industry? What are the stories? What are the success stories? Surround yourself there and then look for how you can just involve yourself in those stories. It's not about you. It's not about you. This is the secret to success in the world, and I'm so sad that I learned it late. I'm just learning it, but it's not about you. Even if you learn a skill today that you thought was really relevant, and maybe they even hire you, but you don't apply this fundamental principle I'm telling you, once you are not relevant anymore, they will kick you out. It's not about you. Think about your environment, Nigeria. So I just mentioned a couple things now. The PIA, have you looked at the PIA? I talked about the PIA in a video that I made. The PIA turned NNPC from a government body to a private corporation that's focused on profits. The PIA splits DPR into NEPRC and NMDPRA. I don't know this because I work in oil and gas. So I know it because I wanted to know it to tell you people. That's why I know, because there are people that will be working in my company or working in the industry. I don't know all these things. But I wanted to learn it to tell you, and now I've gained knowledge. So I know that there's a petroleum minister, and under the petroleum minister, there's NEPRC and then NMDPRA. NMDPRA is for midstream and downstream. NEPRC is for upstream. There are chairmen of each of those, and then there's a board of directors. And then it goes, and then you see how taxation works in the industry. You see how there are investment incentives and all of that. You learn this thing by wanting to give back value. That's how you learn, by wanting to give back value. And you actually have to put in effort and go all the way. For example, when this course started, there were like 70 to 80 people on the call. Now there are only 44. Those people that have gone, maybe some of them are busy, but some people just got bored and they've gone. But they want to get a job that is paying 150 million naira per month and per year. It's not like that. You can't do half work. You can't be half. You can't be a half effort person and want to get the full reward. And so this is really what it is. Think in terms of service. How will I serve oil and gas? Now I've told you that I want to be the petroleum minister. Yes, it's a selfish thing. No? Yes, I want to be the minister. But I want to be the minister so that I will help the industry grow even more. Like that is like, so my thought is, how will I help this industry grow? How will I do the best for the industry? It's not about me. Yes, I'm saying I want to be the petroleum minister, but I have my intention to, that's my goal. It's not to make money, because you get to a point where you don't need more money. I'll be honest with you people. Now I can, before when I was not in my job, maybe I couldn't even afford chicken. when I'm buying food, when I eat fish, now I can buy 2 pieces of chicken and eat. So I'm okay. I have a car that I'm managing to drive. I don't need more. I don't need 2 cars. The change in your life from no car to 1 car is a million times stronger than the change you feel when you buy a second car and you have 2 cars. You can't drive more than 2 cars at once. So you get to a point where a lot of these material things are irrelevant. What will be your purpose in life? Some people want to build a family. Some people I want to build a name that is impactful, that helps the world. Some people started years before me and have made impacts. For me, I want to start now. And I'm starting by giving back to you people. These workshops are free. I didn't charge anybody. I could have made it in a way that you people will pay 2K or 3K, and then I'd have made small money from this thing. But what am I doing with the money? The only thing I need money for from this thing is to get more people on board so I can pay them so that we can scale. For example, I'm trying to get CIPS to come and talk in one of these workshops. I'm trying to get other people, Jobber Man. I reached out to Dragnet. I'm working on so that these workshops will be even more valuable to you people. I did not ask you for money. That is how, but you know the funny thing, if I bring all those people and maybe I make videos that those people are coming, then more people will come and my audience is growing. That is how to build value. That's how to build value for yourself somehow by serving other people, by serving your environment. So that's how reframe your thinking, and maybe you start to understand what I'm saying. There's no secrets. There's no secrets. You realize that a lot of people are selfless. A lot of successful people are even the people that you think are bad people. Maybe you think politicians are not very straightforward people, but if you go deeper, you understand that they have alliances, they are selfless. A lot of times you have to sacrifice for the next person. You have to bow down to somebody. Service to your environment, service to a cause that is bigger than you is where you get value. So I know that's not a straightforward answer, but that is if you switch your mindset, you will see. You will see.
Oh, hi. So now, good
Hi,
afternoon. Good
good
afternoon, the
afternoon.
community, everybody. I just want to appreciate you for real, for doing this. It's actually a lot. I really don't have any question. I think you need to appreciate you more and more for what you are doing. Because I remember me talking about volunteering, but where I'm currently interning as a operation officer in a stockbroking firm, I can tell you that we did one public offer and right issue for one company, and it was so overwhelming that even at some point, aside from probably not losing my phone, it was so overwhelming that I couldn't even manage any other thing to eat or like with it rather. So I just want to show appreciation. Like, thank you for doing this. I was in transit earlier, so I couldn't hear it very well. So I made the comment. Well, all in all, thank you. Thank you for doing this. It's a lot.
No
For real.
problem. Thank you. And thank you for
Yeah.
your commitment. So I know that you're always there, but maybe something else. And this is not to say that I don't make the same mistake too, but rather than ghosting, you tell the person, sorry, I'm currently overwhelmed and I wouldn't be able to continue on this commitments. And in the future, I hope you would accept me when I return or something like that. Like courtesy, not disappearing. And then you only text me again when I post something on
Hmm.
yeah.
I
Because
think I get.
when I post something,
About.
everybody's texting me. Like all the people that they have not spoken to me
Oh,
since, they're texting me, and I used to, you're coming to text me somebody that I'm supposed to be working with. It doesn't.
I.
It's something you can learn. I understand, and it's a mistake that I also make. Right? There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate you because I actually just got to learn this.
No
At
problem.
top, I think it's procrastination actually. So I'll be planning. I think I should do it. Then I will realize that, okay, I'll be probably it's late, or but I think I will do better. I'll do better. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem. Who else has a question? Victor. Victor. Oh wait, sorry. I can't pronounce this name. Do do chi
Do TV.
eh?
Do TV.
Okay, that's interesting. All
Literally.
right, go
So
ahead.
yeah, hello guys. So I actually don't have a question. I wanted to say something about someone earlier was talking about doing NYC and not being able to apply for all these graduate training roles. So all I want to say is, as you're doing the NYC, and this is something I found out later. I found out towards when I was concluding mine. But some of my mates that were serving with me, they were applying and getting offers. So instead of putting where they ask for NYC certificates, you put your color letter so that they know that you're serving and they can see the dates when you're supposed to pass out. So if they eventually reach out to you, they already have the information and then they can decide what to do with that. Instead of you just cutting yourself off and not even applying, which is what I did. And yeah, there's that opportunity to just use color letter so that they know your current situation also. That was just it.
Thank you very much. Actually
Alright.
have I actually have a channel, WhatsApp, a Telegram channel that I made for this particular. Let me see. Okay, so you know the log that you guys have. You'll be the first people to join the community. So I'll put the link here. Right. So the link is in the chat box. You can join. I made it before. This was before the channel. Someone has already joined. You're fast though. Very good. Yeah, because just like Duchiva, that's it. Like he just
Yeah.
shared something really valuable, and I think that these are things that people can share in the community here. So you guys are lucky. You'll be the first group there before we share it to the WhatsApp channel people. Next time they will join our workshop and stay till the end. But anyway, I think Victor has a question.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me? Could you hear me? Well, some of the job role I normally see, they always state like the experience, they always state like maybe 5 years in the field, like in the oil and gas field. I'm currently an electrical technician in an FMCG company. And so I'm considering the point you made about consuming materials, networking, and getting certifications in the retail field you have. But most of those requirements need you to be in the field of like 5 years or 6 years. So, as in an experience, how can you transition?
So if you believe that your only challenge is the number of years of experience you have, but beyond that you think you are qualified, then apply. Because it's possible that they don't see somebody that has a number of years of experience that they want, or you in the, if it's 5 years they want, you in the 2.5 years that you've worked, you've learned everything that they need and more compared to somebody else that has 5 years experience that hasn't learned it. So if you think it's only the number of years of experience that is your challenge, then please, by all means, apply. You'd be surprised. But beyond that, you can search for experience. You can volunteer. If you say you're already working, then fine. If you have 3 years experience, for example, in 2 years you will now have 5 years experience. And then I know you want to fast track it, but you need to think long term, or you need to look for where you can go to with your current experience. Keep searching. Like I mentioned before, follow these companies. By the time you follow the kind of companies that you want on LinkedIn and maybe Instagram, you start to notice that they'll be suggesting similar companies and similar things to you. Things are similar to what you've already shown interest in, and then you start to see more opportunities. But that means that you need to actually surround yourself let me tell you guys something. Majority of the people, for everybody, except maybe 5 or 10 people, less than 5 in fact, that send me messages on TikTok, when I open their page, it's not related to anything. Like, it has nothing to do with being a serious corporate professional. But you want to be a serious, you're posting vibes. Like, you're posting vibes, you're posting. There's a way that you don't even have to post about oil and gas or be serious, but there's a way you would carry yourself on social media that people will think you're serious. Some people would post, if boy no tell you this thing, make sure you leave him. Or if boy knows, ask for your account number, like all those kind of things. Like, when I see that, why will I take your question seriously if you are not necessarily taking yourself seriously? If you're trying to be a clown online to make people laugh, why do you want to have a serious conversation with me? Right? And there's a way to even do all of those things that it looks nice. That's part of keeping your environment clean and sane and in alignment. Mrs. Ibokun Awoshika, I don't know if you guys know her. If you know Mrs. Ibokun, please just like give a thumbs up if you know her. She was at the conference yesterday. Let me try to remember it well. That God did not create schizophrenia. That you cannot live a dual life. And she was referring to church. That people want to live a certain kind of life in church and live a different life outside of church. It doesn't work like that. You have to live one life. You cannot be living life based on vibes, or maybe doing gang signs or sagging or doing, these are like extreme examples, but you cannot be living a life that is separate from the kind of life that you want to live and then think that your one side of your life will be enough to work out. There are people that are almost living double lives inside the thing that you're trying to be successful in. Imagine you that is only doing half, putting half effort. Meanwhile, there are people that are borrowing efforts from other people. They will be more successful than you. So surround your life with things that you want to read, books, watch podcasts that help you arrange your mind for success. Do all these things that help you arrange your mind, because maybe people think that you just have to do certain things in one specific area of your life to be successful. No, your life needs to be consumed by success drivers. You need to be a successful person to be successful in any industry. That's why Tony Elumelu can go from banking to oil and gas to Transcorp Hilton to hotels and hospitality. Femi Otedola can go from diesel to banking. You can move around. Elon Musk can go from rocket ships to electric cars to Twitter to Neuralink to the Boring Company. You need to be a successful person first to be successful anywhere. A lot of the things, if you notice, a lot of the things that I say, I just add oil and gas so that I can niche down, and that's the space I'm in. But they are generic success drivers. You need to understand the value chain of any industry you're in first, and then understand the problem you want to solve. That's not oil and gas. It is general success. So you need to be that person, right? You need to be that person. I know that this is your question was just experience, but this is an expansion of it. Be a successful person. That's why I told you guys to write that thing in the comments. Like, be the person that says that accepts success in their mind first, and then your mind will create it by action. Your mind will be influenced to do things that will create the success that you're seeing in your mind. Karen.
Okay, so I recently graduated from Uniport and I'm currently working as a graduate intern at an oil servicing company. And I am the department where they put me in is in projects engineering. So I've been advised by senior colleagues to take project management courses and anything related to project management, project engineering. I've seen a few and all that. But then I also want to be very active on LinkedIn. So I just wanted to ask, like, what kind of posts or what kind of content do you think I should put out on LinkedIn just so that I can, attract like-minded people and even industry experts?
Okay. So it's actually simple. You need to take the position or the identity of the person that is going first. So you can either be the person that has gone first or the person that is going first. So me, for example, I'm taking both sides. So the person that has gone first in the sense that yes, I have a job that I got as a graduate trainee, and this is what I think you should do to be successful, either as a graduate trainee or otherwise. And also as the person that is going first in terms of how to build even more success in oil and gas in the corporate space, how to be, like you said, visible, how to build relationships. I'm learning on the go. And as I learn, I share with you guys. So for you, maybe you might not feel like, and I do feel like everybody has something that they have already gone first in. But for you, let's assume you are going first. So the kind of post you'd make would be, I am going to do this thing, or I have just tried this thing. This is what I learned. Or I tried this thing, I wasn't successful. This is what happened. These are the things I learned. This is what I'm going to change. You can then ask at the end a call to action. Have you tried this? What was your experience? And then other things that interest you, you'd say, I recently got interested or stumbled upon this thing. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. What do you know about it? And then an industry expert, for example, would come and comment, oh, it's really great to see that you have interest in this. So, for example, I made a post about CIPS and supply chain, and somebody that's a supply chain expert, professional, he commented and we got to connect and had a conversation. So that's how it is. I hope that makes sense to you. What's your learning and the problems that they think that if you learn it, what problem will it solve? And then maybe how you've applied your learning into something or the mistakes you've made. And then you ask people. Remember to always ask questions at the end or tell people to do something. I'm sure you notice in my videos, I always say make sure you're following so you don't miss tips. And then I also say I'll catch you in the next video to tell you that there will be a next video, because every single video I post will be somebody's first interaction with me. So every single video ends with make sure you're following so you don't miss tips like this. That tells the person that there will always be more tips like this. So it's not a one-off. I did not just stay and think of this one video and I won't talk about it again. Then I also said I'll catch you in the next video, so you can be sure that I will post again. So always tell people, give people an instruction in a way, a call to action at the end. What do you think about this? Have you worked on something similar? What did you learn? Or do you know about this? And then people will comment, and that's how you start building relationships.
Okay. I have another question.
Mhm.
So for building CVs, right? Like what should be the contents of the CV? Because I do see some CVs where they just put their education, professional experience, their soft skills, and some projects they have worked on. So when these hiring companies put out their what do I call it, on job boards, what do they really need to see in the CVs first that will attract them or make them want to reach out for interviews?
They want to see that you are a doer and a doer that understands what they are doing. So you're able to articulate the value of what you did, not just I did this, but I did this that helps the company achieve this. That's what they want to see. Or they want to see what your interests are. So, for example, in your executive summary at the end, you should always say, I am looking for opportunities where I can do this. That's where you're interested. And usually you tailor that towards the job application, right? But these are the things they want to see. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about CVs. I don't, because a CV is just a reflection of what you've done. If you've not done anything, your CV will be empty. That's what it is. And somehow, the more you do strategically, the smaller your CV would be. Because if you've done so many small, petty things that are not relevant and not strategic, you would want to write plenty of things because you think they add up to something. But if, for example, you were the project manager for a $2 billion project, for example, or $2 million, let's say it's even $2 million. All you have to do is write that I was the project manager that oversaw the delivery of a $2 million project from inception to final handoff finish. That has impact. So when you're working, think of what is the impact, what is the single sentence impact of what I'm doing, not the tiny things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, a lot of these things come from your mind first. That's why it looks like there's no real secret, because there's no real secret. The secret is identity of mind. What kind of person are you? So the identity of mind in this sense now would be, how are you strategically thinking of the things that you are doing before you go into a project? How do you see, what is the end accomplishment that you will put on your CV? Then you can now know how to frame it and know the actual work you will even want to do. So that you will know if you want to ask people in your company whether they want to give you more opportunities, or you want to do this because it will help you frame your impactful singular line in your CV later. That's how you should be thinking of these things long term. It's not just doing things and then retroactively thinking, what was this thing even? That's how to approach this thing. It's Grace. I'll allow you to ask your question, but we'll end there, please.
Okay, good evening. So I wanted to ask, how easy is it to, or is it realistic to be able to pivot from one industry to the other as a supply chain expert? Let's say for now, since I'm waiting on the graduate trainee programs in oil and gas, and it seems I may have to wait till 2027, I decided maybe I should just start now as an intern or entry level in maybe any other industry. It could be food manufacturing like Nestle, it could be hardware manufacturing, it could be anything, it could be pharmaceuticals. So in that time where I do that and I decide to pivot into oil and gas, do you think the experience I have in a totally different industry is good enough to pivot to oil and gas? Because I understand that yes, it's possible, but the problem I feel may come from my background knowledge about that industry. For example, the difference between what you have to do in the food industry, maybe in terms of safety and all that, compared to oil and gas, or in terms of manufacturing hardware and all. So I just wanted to know how possible it is or how realistic it is.
Okay. What does a supply chain person do?
Well, from my understanding and from my research, it's an umbrella term, so there are different roles, different responsibilities in supply chain. So you have procurement, you have logistics, you have inventory management, you have category management, and you have supply chain analysis, Jesus Christ, you
Analytics.
have supply chain, yes, sorry. So that was also a question I asked because I was finding it difficult to understand if, as an entry level person, I can mash everything together, or if I need to specialize in a particular role, if I have to specialize in procurement or in logistics or in analytics. So I guess I've complicated the question for my answer.
You well, so since you want to do supply chain, you will look for the opportunities that you find, and then that will also determine where you specialize in some sense. So don't forget that sometimes you might not be able to pick the exact opportunities you see when you want to niche down or when you want to specialize. So if you've picked a space, generally supply chain, just learn as much as you can by yourself. And then when you see opportunities, that will sometimes direct you until when you're eventually able to choose where, like when you're further in your career and you have more of a choice. But yes, it applies. It applies. I think you should just learn more about the nuances of supply chain in oil and gas. So in oil and gas, at the end of the day, supply chain is just materials movement of things from one place to another, materials, services, and people from one place to another, sometimes internally inside the company, sometimes externally. So that becomes third party, and then management of third party spend. So that's all under, like you said, category management, contracting, and all those kind of things. That is what supply chain is. And all these things are applicable across board because they will use materials in FMCG. They would buy the raw materials. So that's still supply chain. It's still movements. It's just that the material or the particular thing that's moving is different. But the same things apply. HSC applications still apply. In a refinery, there are still dangerous processes and machines, dangerous chemicals. All of that still applies. So just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, keep learn in whatever industry you are. Surround yourself with oil and gas lingo, as Ainaya said, and then you can, when an opportunity comes, you'll be ready. You can't determine when an opportunity will come, but you can determine how ready you are because opportunities will come, but you just have to be ready for when they come. I hope that makes sense. Thank you guys. I think we'll end it there. And if anybody's interested, I do have one-on-one consultations, but it's not free. Those consultations will help me get more people and be able to pay them so that we can grow and scale more to give more value back to people. But yeah, if you have any deep burning questions, you can book that. The next workshop will be in 2 weeks, but on a Saturday. Hopefully, nothing is happening on that Saturday, but on a Saturday. Thank you guys that have joined the Telegram channel. Remember, it is community driven, so it's you guys that will be talking there, not me. It will be as lively or as dull as you want it to be. Right. And thanks again for spending all your Sunday afternoon with me. And I'll catch you guys in the next workshop.